late afternoon in a winter Mildura in my kitchen. Welcome to the Calvinian architecture, first octave, colour red, keynote, do, seventh chapter, Zora. These stories were written in response to Italo Calvino's Invisible Cities, and they were written all in one session with no punctuation marks and no editing. This is verse 2 and verse 3. My youngest daughter comes to visit me in Bangkok. We're very happy to see each other and we visit many temples together. Then on an island far from the capital, she gets sick. From the heat, we think, but it's her soul that's battered. The beaches are covered with cigarette butts. We spend hours picking them up and putting them into plastic bags, but finally we're defeated. There are simply too many and everything feels used up and tired. She expected clean, unspoiled water, innocent eyes and fruit. I did too. But I'm used to making do, to rationalising, to attempting to understand. She expects more from life. I wish I still did. We have to wait for her to get better before we can leave. Eventually we return on the train from Krabi. It's a long way, and in a taxi from the railway station to the hotel, she gets sick again. The traffic's interminable. The taxi driver can see she's very unhappy and he begins to joke. We're stopped a long time. He's looking in the rear vision mirror, monitoring her distress. Finally, he winds his window down and motions to a nearby street vendor. He lifts his right hand with thumb, index and middle finger outstretched. And the vendor smiles broadly. A secret sign? I begin to wonder what it might mean. There's no movement in the traffic. Hundreds of car horns sound. Finally, the vendor comes over. He's holding 3 freshly roasted ears of corn and smiling broadly. For you, sir, he says, looking at me. The driver hands him some coins. He takes 1 ear of corn and begins to eat. We do too. She smiles a bit. He asks us where we're from. Ah, Venezia, he says. Like Bangkok, except Venezia is the Bangkok of the West. And he laughs and laughs. We do too. I close my eyes as I talk to him. He offers us water from his bottle and a clean cloth to wipe our mouths and hands. We finally move off. We talk all the way to Arun Amarin. As we get out, my daughter smiles for the first time in 2 weeks. He winks at us both, waves, and is gone. We're left holding the husks of the corn. I look at mine closely. I hold it in the palm of my hand. What are you looking at, Dad? She says. What can you see? I don't know, I answer. I don't know, but it looks great, doesn't it? It looks fantastic, doesn't it? I've never really looked at a corn husk before. I've just usually thrown it out without really ever noticing it, but this time I can't seem to get rid of it. I look at it again and again. She smiles. I'm smiling too. We carry the husks up to the room, place them on the windowsill overlooking the city. Rain's coming this way from the west. verse number 3. Anya's house, right? Is that what you're thinking? I am. Anya's house on the Esplanade Leon de Carvalho is the perfect place. Only 2 rooms on the 2nd floor, bare concrete walls, though she has an iMac on the table overlooking the Atlantic. If you get there late at night, you have to have a password for the security guard. He's somewhere in the shadows of the sun grills where the violet streetlight casts intricate patterns over the sand floor, but he's there all right. And as you say it, he whispers, "Reais, senor?" I have one ready, just as Anya told me to. He mutters discontentment. Last week, Anya had another break-in, her 5th. They smashed the door down with a pickaxe. She's got steel reinforcement around the frame now. She's not bothered by it. The lights are off, and we sit and look at the phosphorescence glowing in the southern Atlantic surf underneath us. Because beyond the footpath, outside the door, there it is rolling in all the way from Sierra Leone, or somewhere like that. It howls and howls, always. And as she led me in the first time, she made me stand still under a particular light pole, and she whispered, "Listen." And slowly from the cacophonies of sea, wind, and traffic, the north-south violins playing in the wires began to emerge. Random sounds made entirely at the whim of the elements flying here and there. Sweet bass tones lifting to crescendos of unbelievable intensity. "When I'm not happy," she said. She never liked to say she was sad. "When I'm not happy," she said, "I come here and listen to these violins. Then the time passes. Things get better." It's funny, isn't it? Damp cement walls. Your front door gets smashed down every few weeks. The few house lights flicker from overuse in the rest of Salvador. But still, it's the best place in the world. Something to do with what it faces, Africa. So strange to say that, but sometimes something stirs when I think of it, when I hear that wind howling. I leave early in the morning. The light's barely up, only dogs are wandering around. There's a taxi rank a few streets away. I walk to it, past a strange ham radio setup, antennas in the sky. I stop to look. An entire symphony orchestra plays in the wires. The wind howls, my eyes water, my ears zing, my heart's full. I look behind me, pounding waves, white-capped, empty street in front. Everything's music, right? Thank you for listening. Tomorrow, the first octave, 8th chapter, Despina. I look forward to reading whatever that comprises tomorrow afternoon. Until then.